Hello and welcome to Colleague 7 Sprint Review for 20.05.01. This will cover the work undertaken between the 28th of April to the 11th of May. Our sprint goal for this sprint has been to deliver an import feature, allowing users to import records from CSV into Colleague 7. Looking at the high-level items and to explain further, in this sprint we've been able to introduce the ability of importing records into Colleague 7 via a CSV file. This will cover the creation of a candidate, company or contact record, and I'll give a demo on this shortly. We've delivered an integration with the online timesheet provider Timesheet Portal. Again, I'll give a demo on this shortly. We've added lists and the user overview dials to the new mobile UI for Colleague 7. And we've implemented a security update to Colleague 7 so that connections to the Azure Redis cache service use TLS 1.2. We'll now go for a brief demonstration on the key features from this sprint. So when importing records into Colleague 7, the option is available within the admin area. Under the records section, you have import records there as an icon. That's an option there. Now, access to the import records icon is done through user group permissions. So then user group permissions under the admin area or submenu, you've got import records an option there, and that needs to be set to full access. If it's set to no access, then that icon won't appear for that user. Now, in terms of access to import records, if we click on the import records option, you'll see that you have the means to select the entity that you're importing the records to. So it supports candidate, company, and contact. And this is on the basis of it being a CSV file that you would select and choose the file, and then within the result it will give the details of how it's progressing. If I open up an example Excel file or CSV file just to demonstrate how this would work. So this is an example file set up with obviously various different content that you'd import into the system. Note that it supports lookup, so if you want to pass values into lookup fields, drop-down list fields, then it will manage that, providing that it obviously tallies up with the content of what's available in the lookup. If it's an invalid value, then obviously it will bypass that. In terms of date of birth, the specific format that's required for the date of birth is year, month, and day in terms of the formatting of the date. That's an important bit of information to know and understand so that it imports correctly in terms of passing the date value. But also in terms of the actual columns that are available, they're defined by the contents of the data dictionary. So there'll be some example spreadsheets available, but if you want to add additional columns to the spreadsheet that you're importing to, what you'll need to do is basically just go to the data dictionary, look up the candidates section, if you're looking at candidates, and then you can see the fields that are available there. So if you wanted to add in an additional field, in this example candidate source, then you copy in the field name from the data dictionary, and then obviously you can then enter in any specific content that you're looking to pass through into that field, providing obviously if it's a drop-down list, it's a valid value that you're entering in there. So that's basically the example file, and they'll be available to download with the release notes associated with this feature. If we run through an example import, you can see that obviously the entity option is selected. We select the file, it's the file that we were just looking at there, hit import records, and they'll give you a confirmation message that you need to set yes to there. That then triggers the process, and obviously you get a processing overlay appear. Now what you can do is download the results, and I'd recommend that you do that so that you have a file that gives you an overview, and then what you could then do is select all on those results and copy them, and then if we revisit the file, open up that file again, what I'd suggest doing is basically adding in an extra column at the beginning, calling it result, and then pasting in the output of that result. And then what that allows you to do is basically see that if you have any feedback, if there's been any failures with regards to the creation of the records, it's going to give you details of what's failed, and if it's obviously successfully created, it gives you the reference number, and you can obviously look up that reference number and see that record created. So that covers the creation of a candidate record using the import feature. With regards to creating a contact record, if we go to a contact spreadsheet, what you'll have is a company name column, and what happens there as part of the import process is it looks up that company name on the system. If it finds a company that matches that name, then it will create the contacts against that company. But if it doesn't find a company of that name, it will create the company as well as part of the contact import process. So that's just a point to note there. But that's the import feature in Colleague 7. So further to the introduction of a mobile user interface for Colleague 7 as part of the last sprint, we've updated it further in this sprint so that there are some additional features now available. Those features are effectively the introduction of the user overview dials and lists. So you now have the means when you log into Colleague 7 to be able to click on user overview dials. You can see the same dials that you have access to when you log into Colleague 7 on the desktop. And also you have, if you have the user group permissions to be able to select different users, you can do so as well. So that functionality has been introduced onto the mobile UI. You can also access your lists. So these are any hot lists that you may have created relevant to specific records that you're keeping track of or using on a regular basis. So that's the means to be able to now quick search, to really access recent items, and to also be able to access lists that you have saved that we've set up now on the mobile user interface. And obviously all of the functionality with regards to clicking on numbers and email addresses and it prompting the necessary applications is obviously in place. So this is the mobile UI as it currently stands. We're not planning on updating it again as part of the next sprint, but we have further updates that will be made over the course of the coming months with regards to the UI. And as ever, if you want to log out from it, it's top right, you hit the log out button. So Colleague now integrates with a third party called Timesheet Portal. Timesheet Portal offer a online platform whereby they allow for your contractors to submit their timesheets online and for there to be obviously assigned approvers that then review those timesheets to approve. Within the interface of Colleague, there isn't much difference, but if we go into the Timesheet Portal website, you can see that there's a Recruitment edition, which is what we've integrated with. And you can see the functionality that they have available there. Essentially, we ask that you would liaise directly with Timesheet Portal, go about setting up your account, and then once you have your account in place, contact us and we will go about integrating at no charge, essentially the push-based integration that we have within Colleague 7. So from an interface perspective, there is no change in terms of the UI. When you're on a first level authorized placement and when you're going through the process of second level authorizing the placement, as part of that second level authorization, it's uploading all of the placement details up to your Timesheet Portal account. So that's not just the placement, ultimately it's the company, it's the contractor, it's the job details as a whole. So if we go on to the Timesheet Portal account, this is a sandbox account that we've been set up with. What we're able to do ultimately within the Timesheet Portal area is demonstrate that data has been uploaded to this area. So if we go into the clients section, and you can see that there are client records there that we've uploaded from the authorization process. If we go to jobs, you can see that there are jobs that we have uploaded from the authorization process. It supports permanent placements as well. So ultimately it would take your back office workflow element out of Colleague 7 from the point of second level authorization and into Timesheet Portal moving forwards. You can see that the contractor information has been uploaded also, and ultimately from there you also have the details that you need to process this placement and the details of the placement moving forwards within Timesheet Portal. So that's the integration that is now in place. There's a history that's then tracked within Colleague in terms of the details that have been sent up, and if there are any issues as part of the upload process, whether or not there are any issues there, are recorded against the record as part of that upload process. But from an integration standpoint, it's a push from Colleague into Timesheet Portal, and that's what's available now to the users. As always, if you have any queries or feedback, please get in touch. I'll be keen to hear from you. Also, for those using Colleague 7, feel free to submit your enhancement requests via the support team or directly to me using the above email address. The next video will be the sprint review for 20.05.02. Thanks for watching.